All right. Shalom, Israel. First and foremost, as always, I would like to give all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha, Kwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return. And as always, double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And welcome to another sit-down lesson being brought to you by the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Okay, in this video, I'm going to be going into where the term race came from. Okay, and I just want to start off by saying that the Bible does not deal with races of people. The Bible deals with nationalities. Okay, and what you're going to find out in this article that I have pulled up right here, that race, the term race, was a social construct that was used to basically link particular groups of people together based on their genetic makeup. That's why, you know, the so-called white man calls us African American, because the Africans have dark skin and woolly hair just like we do. But according to the Bible, we are not Africans. And Esau, in his own Zondervan's Bible Compact Dictionary, he even tells you that Ham, one of the sons of Noah, became the progenitor of the dark races, not the Negroes. Okay? Now, we know that when the so-called white man says Negroes, he's not referring to Africans. He's referring to the so-called Black American, because we were called Negroes during the time of slavery over here in America, to the time that we were emancipated, transitioned from physical slavery into mental slavery. Around those times, we were being called colored folks. Okay, we were being called blackies, niggers, Negroes, which Negro is just Spanish for black. Okay, so that byword was put upon us by the Spanish. But the point that I'm making is that, you see, you know, the so-called white man, he came up with that term race to basically link people together based on their genetic code, you know? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this, you know, because according to the Bible, you know, the Africans are Hamites. And according to the Bible, so-called Negroes come from the tribe of Judah. So the Bible deals with nationalities, not races. You know, the so-called white man, he'll see somebody that might look like a Chinese person. He'll say that person is Chinese. But that person that looked like a Chinese could actually be a Terr. That person that looks Chinese could actually be an Edomite. That person that looks Chinese could be an Israelite. Because you got to remember, during the Dark Ages, we had control over China. You know, we was popping those Chinese women. So yeah, there's going to be Israelites down there that look Chinese, but they're really Israelites. But then, you know, of course, during the Renaissance period, when Esau started rising up into power, when he went into China and turned, you know, before China became a communist country, Esau was going up in there graping those Chinese women. You should know what I mean by graping. Okay, he was having his way with those Chinese women. So a lot of those babies that was coming out of those Chinese women, they look Chinese, but those babies were really Edomites, because the so-called white man is an Edomite according to the Bible. That's his nationality. So the Bible don't deal with races. Just because somebody look Japanese, it don't mean they're Japanese. Just because somebody looks like African, it don't mean they're African. The Bible deals with nationalities. And according to Numbers chapter 1, verse 18, your nationality is based on who your father is. Why? Because the man carries the seed, in which when you look up the word seed, it goes back to the Greek word sperma, which is where you get the word sperm from. The man carries the sperm, not the woman. The body of the baby is formed by the sperm of the man, by the seed of the man. But in any case, historical foundations of race. The term race, used infrequently, meaning not frequently, before the 1500s, was used to identify groups of people with a kinship or group connection. The modern day use of the term race is a human invention. And it is a human invention because it was invented by the so-called white man. And ultimately, races were created so Esau could justify white supremacy, and therefore call us by a negative word, which is the word black. The word black, which means, you know, negative, void of light, which 2/3 of our people are black because they don't have the light. And they don't even understand who the light is. The light is Yahawashai, okay? So in a sense, yeah, 2/3 of our people are black. But according to the Bible, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Indians are Israelites. You know? You know, you got Latinos that look like so-called Negroes. But their line really goes back to Ephraim. Their line could go back to the Cubans. Their line could go back to Argentinians or Chileans. So just because somebody look like a so-called black person, it don't mean they're a so-called black person. Okay, look at West Ford. Look at Chicken George. They look like so-called black people. Do that mean they were considered black? No. According to the Bible, they're Edomites. So you see what the so-called white man did? He brought nothing but confusion into the world. So the Bible don't deal with races. The Bible deals with nationalities. Okay? Okay? So what is a social construction? And race is a social construct invented by the Edomites to justify so-called white supremacy, meanwhile, you know, maintaining their status on the top so they can win. Meanwhile, every other race, especially the Israelites, which are the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Indians, could just be on the bottom, losing. You know, mad, confused, nappy hair, looking like old dirty bastards, sagging pants, smoking crack through. You know, this is why race was created. You know, the ghettos, you know, the slums, the reservations, they were all created on purpose to keep us in a poor condition. That's why you have high ass rent in so many different neighborhoods. It was invented that way to keep Israelites from moving into those decent, good looking neighborhoods. I won't say nice because the word nice means foolish, but race is a human invented shorthand, and you know, forgive me, I'm currently walking the camp right now. Is a invented shorthand term used to describe and categorize people into various social groups on characteristics like what? Skin color. You see that? So if you have brown skin and woolly hair, that means you're automatically black. You're a black African American. Nah, that dude could be an Edomite. He could be a Ter. That dude could actually be an Ishmaelite. You know, he could be he could look like a so-called Negro, but his line might actually go back to Elam. Or he can look like a so-called Negro, right? And his line might actually go back to Israel, because his father's lineage on his father's side goes back to a so-called Negro. Okay? So race is a human invented shorthand term used to describe and categorize people into various social groups, such as what? Based on characteristics like skin color, okay, physical features, and physical features and genetic heredity. Okay, genetic heredity. Race, okay, while not a valid biological concept, it's not a biological concept, because the Bible deals with biological concepts based on who your father is, not based on how you look on the outside appearance. Because you see, when you deal with race deals with the outside appearance. You're automatically characterized as this group based on how you look on the outside. But the Bible tells you in the book of John, the 7th chapter, to judge righteous judgment. Don't judge by the outside appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Okay? So race, while not a valid biological concept, is a real social construction. You see, race is a social construct that gives or denies benefits and privileges. So you could be an Israelite that look like a so-called white person. Guess what? In this society, if you're an Israelite and you look like a so-called white person, guess what? You get to enjoy the privileges of white supremacy, because Esau's a carnal ass dude. There's nothing spiritual about Edomites, man. Okay, see, Esau deals with carnality, but if you're an Israelite, you're supposed to deal with spirituality, because we're a spiritual people. So here it is, you know, there could be a Arab that look like a so-called white person. He gets to enjoy the privileges of white supremacy in this society. You know, meanwhile, you could be an Edomite, right? You could be an Edomite that look like a so-called a black person. You know, if you go to school, you get made fun of because of your skin color. They call your ass nappy. They might throw paper balls at you, spit wads. You know, they might throw the basketball at your head and shit, push you around. Yeah, what you gonna do about it, Blackie? Because Esau's you see? But you see, not knowing that they're really bullying and pushing around in their own people. Chocolate covered as Edomite, you know? He's gonna be in the ghettos and shit, living like shit, because he's an Edomite that look like a so-called black person. So, you know, it says American society developed a notion of race early in its formation to justify its new economic system of capitalism. And what's a part of that capitalism? So-called white supremacy. Okay? It says, which depended on the institution of forced labor, especially enslavement of African peoples, to more accurately understand. And when they say African peoples, they're talking about Israelites. They're not talking about actual Africans, because actual Hamites, which are the biblical Africans, did not go into captivity. The Israelites went into captivity. Okay? Like it tells you in the book of Hosea, the 4th chapter. Therefore, are my people gone into captivity because they have what? No knowledge. Okay? So I arrived at my camp spot, but I'm gonna continue this lesson here. I'm gonna continue this lesson here. Okay. So you know what? While I do this lesson, I can go ahead and set up the camp signs. And by the way, the Great Water Camp brothers, for leaving these camp signs for me. I'll make sure to use these camp signs for edification. Okay, but okay, it says American society developed the notion of race early in its formation to justify its new economic system of capitalism. And a part of capitalism is what? So-called white supremacy. Race was really created for them to push and enforce white supremacy on the world. Go around telling the people of the other world that they are the people. Like it tells you in Revelation, the 20th chapter, when Satan is loose out of his prison, the bottomless pit, which is Europe, right? He shall go out to the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to deceive the nations. Okay? And that's exactly what this devil did, man. He deceived the nations into thinking that, they are the chosen people, All that comes from white supremacy, man. That comes from their new form of what? Capitalism. Okay. See the Chariots of God picture. Yeah, let's put this martial law sign down. People need to know about martial law, right? It says, which depended on the institution of forced labor. Right, forced labor upon who? The Israelites. Okay, especially the enslavement of African peoples, the enslavement of Israelites. Okay, we are not Africans. We do not come from the line of Ham. We come from the line of Shem. We are Shemitic, not Hamitic. Okay, the Israelites come from the line of Shem. Okay, to more accurately understand how race and its counterpart, racism, are woven into the very fabric of American society, we must explore the history of how race, white privilege, you see, white, and anti-blackness came to be. Okay? Anti-blackness. Come on, man. Really? Anti-blackness. No? But that's why we say these Edomites, which is the self-proclaimed white man, is the devil. Okay? So, I mean, when you really think about it, that's all I really need to read. Okay? Ooh, that's a good idea. If I put the 12 tribes sign there, it can also prevent that sign from falling, which is, I think, is a beautiful and a smart idea at the same time. The Wadi Yahweh, the Wadi Yahweh for that idea. Okay? Okay? So here we have the invention of race. I'm going to read this and then close it out and get ready to do camp. It says the concept of race as we understand it today evolved alongside the information. It evolved alongside the formation of the United States and deeply connected with the evolution of the two terms, white and slave. So you see, before we were being called black, we were being called slave, okay? In Russia, we were known as Slav, which Slav is Russian for what? Slave, okay? The words race, white, and slave okay, were all used by Europeans in the 1500s. So you see, that word white goes back to the 1500s. And it started with Edomites that had gained control of Europe. And if you notice, they said the 1500s, right? What happened during the 1500s? It was the Renaissance period, okay? Rome was still being reborn back into the earth around this time, okay? All of the dark-skinned images of the apostles, the prophets, the servants of the Lord, Yahushua, the angels, they were all being painted over during this time. For the sake of what? Pushing white supremacy. You see? And in the 1600s, when the Edomites in Virginia, you know, when they saw how wealthy and rich they became off of slave labor, right? They declared themselves as white. And that was in the 1600s here in America. And guess what was going on during the 1600s? The Israelites, which are the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Indians, were in slavery. Hardcore slavery, chain shackles, picking potatoes, carrying baskets of cotton, Tabasco, out there starving, sweating, hungry. You see? Sleeping on a wooden floor inside of a shed full of bugs and shit. Probably was itching. You see, losing. This is what was going on. So the word race, white, and slave were all used by Europeans in the 1500s. And they brought these words with them to North America. So the term white starts in Europe, in which they brought that term to the Americas. However, the words did not have the meanings that they have today. Instead, the needs of developing American society would transform those words. Oh, sorry, let me play that again. A vehicle with a loud ass engine is, you know, just unnecessary noise. Okay? But it says, instead, the needs of developing American society would transform those words, meanings into new ideas. You see? So even the term white had a different meaning before Europeans came over here to the Americas, right? In which the first slaves came over here to the Americas from Europe. And that was in the year 1619 to a city called Jamestown, Virginia. Okay? So to show you, you know, the first slaves actually came from Europe and then from the western parts of Africa, where the Israelites fled down into in order to flee Roman persecution during 70 AD when Jerusalem was being ransacked and attacked by Titus under the orders of Vespasian. So, I mean, pretty much, you know, this is where the term race comes from. You know, race again comes from Edomites, who was calling themselves Europeans at the time. The biblical Edomites is the self-proclaimed white man, okay? He's not white. According to the Bible, he's red. Esau is Edom. Genesis 36:1. When you look up the word Edom, it goes back to the Hebrew word Adawam, which means red. Okay, and the reason why Esau was called red was because of the blood that showed forth through his skin. Because so-called white people don't even have a skin color. Their skin is translucent, meaning you can see what's under their skin. Okay, we all have white meat underneath our skin. Every human being on this planet has white meat underneath their skin. The thing is that with so-called white people, since they don't have a skin color, since their skin color is clear, since their skin color is translucent, meaning you can see right through their skin, that means you can see the white meat underneath their skin. Okay? If you get a graze or something like that on your arm, right? You tend to see the white meat, right? But what eventually rises to the surface of the white meat? Blood. Blood eventually rises to the surface of the white meat. So in the case with so-called white people, right? when they get angry, when it's super hot outside and they're getting cooked by the sun, what happens? The blood begins to rise up above the white meat underneath their skin. And thus they begin to turn red because of the blood that show forth through their skin. This is why Esau was called red, starting in the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter, and in Genesis, the 36th chapter in the first verse. Esau is Edom. Esau is red. He's red because of the blood that shows forth because of the blood that shows forth under his skin. You so-called white people, you're not white, you're red. Okay? You turn red because of the blood that shows forth underneath your skin. That's why you're known as Edom. There's no such thing as white or black people. And guess what? We're not black, okay? The tires on your car is black. When you turn your TV off at night before you go to bed and you look at the screen, that's black, okay? You look at a black car with black paint, that's black. You look at black leather shoes, that's black. Ain't nobody on this planet black. We are different shades of brown. Rather, if we're a very light brown, a golden brown, like my skin color is like a dark golden brownish color, okay? My skin is my skin is a golden brownish color. You got light golden brownish, and then you got golden brownish, and then you got dark golden brownish. Okay, I'm a golden brown skinish color. Okay, and then you have dark brown. Well, you have brown skin, and then you have dark brown skin, and then you have very dark brown skin, which is basically a skin complexion that is so dark that it looks black, but if you look closely, is actually a very dark brownish color. Okay, so ain't nobody on this planet white or black. There's no such thing as a white or a black person. Okay, white and black, those are the names under races. Under race, which is a social construct that was created by the Edomites during the 1500s that came out of Europe. Okay, and originally, so-called blacks wasn't even called blacks. They were called slaves. Okay. So the phrase was white and slave. Okay. And then later on here in America, the term black was created here in America. But anyways, with that, I pray and hope that you sincere brothers and few sisters have been edified. I hope you sincere brothers of the hopeful elect and you few sisters have been edified. Excuse me, that's what I meant to say. I hope you sincere brothers of the hopeful elect and you few sisters have been edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. With that, I'm gonna say shalom. It's on to the next one.